at that part. It was to pursue a grant. Maybe I didn't make that clear, and I may not have.
I am a little confused, Bill, because I thought that to pursue a grant, you would need a project description before you could pursue it.
Well, I mean, they're...
You can't just say, hey, we've got an idea, can we have, you know, a couple of ideas?
You're a little bit right, but that's a longer conversation. I mean, he's had someone look at it. He's had an appraisal made for the track and for other things. But I think what he's bringing tonight for you is about a walking track around the pond out there. And
Cindy Wood here. Robinson here. Sarah Rose here. Billy Poe here. Jason Stewart
Here.
John Paul Thompson
Here.
Ernie Lane, Brandon Schrader, Bonnie Winkles here. Greg Parker.
We have a quorum. You have a copy of the minute from the May meeting in the packet. I'll give you a minute to look over them and have a motion to approve.
I have a problem with the minutes.
Okay.
Resolution 1289-2025. It shows in there that passed by majority vote, and it did not. So I don't know how we need to correct that.
Well, and that's what I'm going to discuss when we bring it back up, because I am bringing it back out.
But the minutes need corrected, correct?
No, because talking to the municipal league said that it did pass. Whenever I said, I'm just telling you what the
I talked to municipal league too, and they said on a 10-member council, it takes 6 votes to pass, period. Am I right, Jimmy?
that's correct.
Now,
There was not 6 votes there.
I was the sixth.
You did not cast a vote.
That's why I'm going to bring it back up, John Paul. That's what I told you when I talked to you right after.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is this is wrong. This needs to be corrected. We can bring it back up, but the minutes need corrected. Am I right?
So, I think the issue is whether or not when the mayor called the ordinance pass, or the resolution pass, it was a kind of a tacit yes. He didn't announce it publicly that he voted yes, but when he called it passed, it was kind of assumed or implied that of course he voted yes, otherwise he wouldn't have called it passed, he would have called it failed.
But my question is, should Carolyn not be calling that? Carolyn should be calling 5 for, 5 against. Motion failed. And then that's when the mayor steps in and votes. He shouldn't be calling it. That's not his position.
Well, so I think, I've seen it done where the mayor, most of the meetings I've seen, the mayor announces whether or not an ordinance or resolution passes. But that's just in observing the Paragould City Council, the Harrisburg City Council, whose meetings I attend, and others. That's not to say that you couldn't do it another way. But I think the minutes are correct that the mayor stated the resolution passed. Where it says this was passed by a majority vote.
Even though he did not specify he wanted to vote.
So that's where I think there's a bit of a discrepancy, and that's why I think the mayor has brought it back and put it on the council tonight for the council's consideration tonight. It's not wrong to say that Mayor Wood stated the resolution passed, because he did state that. The question is, this sentence, this was passed by a majority vote, when he didn't, technically, verbally say yes. Again, I think it was implied that he voted yes, otherwise he wouldn't have announced it was passed. But the real question is does that count as a yes vote when he doesn't verbalize that? And
Municipally told me no.
And so, and since that's the point of contention, that's why it's back on the agenda tonight. Your point is, should the minutes be changed to reflect that this was passed by a majority vote, since he didn't verbalize a yes vote? And that's a fair point. If you want to object to the minutes, so you're certainly entitled to do that. It'll still be, I guess, a vote.
I mean, we're going to vote on again regardless, but I think the minutes need to reflect what, it was not a passed vote.
And that's a fair objection. I understand your point. It'll be for the council to approve the minutes as they are, or to make some amendment to the minutes.
I make a motion, we amend it to get it right.
I have a question. Did you check with the municipal league about that, and they said that that is done in, that is sometimes done in legislation?
Yeah, that was one of the points that they made, which is when we consider legislation, for example, in the General Assembly, how does that work? I think the point that they made is that when we vote on the bill in the emergency clause, even though it's not always announced that we're voting on the bill in the emergency clause, and it's marked in the journal as the emergency clause passed, even though there wasn't a separate vote on the emergency clause, and it's kind of like a tacit assent to the passage of the emergency clause. And I think they tried to make an analogy in the conversation that I had with them, and you may have been there or had been there when they were on the phone talking about that. But this is kind of the same thing, that even though the mayor didn't vote when he announced verbally, when he announced that it had passed, it was implied that his vote was yes. And they try to draw an analogy to the way that's done in the General Assembly with the passage of emergency clauses, even though there's not a separate vote on it. I'm not sure that was the best analogy, but they did make an analogy.
And that was when you and I both were talking to Caleb Alexander and John Wilkes.
That's right. And
So he does not have to cast a vote.
again, I think that's a question.
If there's no gray area, it's either a yes or no. Does he have to cast a vote?
I don't know that they gave us a clear answer. And I think for clarity purposes, that's why it's back on the agenda tonight. I think you make a good point. I'm not disputing you. I think the point you make is valid. That's why it's being brought back before the council tonight. Your question or your point is, what should the minutes reflect? And the minutes, when they state that Mayor Wood stated the resolution passed, that's an accurate statement, because he did state that. Whether it passed by a majority vote is a little bit more of a question, and it's back on the agenda tonight.
My question would be, is I'm exciting vote that would make it a majority, right?
That's right.
Yeah, that's been
But you've got to make a vote. You've got to cast a vote.
There again, it's brought back up, and just like I told you when we first discussed this, that next day is that to keep conflict down, I'm bringing it back to the council and to run it through again and see how it goes. So,
But there is a motion that John Paul has made with respect to the minutes. So
I'll second.
John Paul Thompson made a motion. Exactly what is your motion?
I just want the statement that you stated that it passed is correct. You did state that. I think where it says that it passed by majority vote needs to be corrected. Because it did not pass by majority vote.
So she should correct it to a 5-2 vote.
Yep.
That's the motion, second by Bonnie Winkle. Any discussion?
How can it pass if
It can't pass.
if it's a 5-2 vote?
It can't.
It can pass by my deciding
And
vote.
I'm saying though, if it's implied that vote was cast, then it's a majority vote. So, it's either, it can't be both.
What do you suggest, Jimmy?
well, I think you've made a motion essentially to amend the minutes to strike the sentence, "This was passed."
I just think
Everything else would be accurate. I don't think anybody's disputing that. and then we'll bring back that resolution be brought back up tonight, so then you won't have to worry with it. So that'd be.
I just think we're gonna put something in the minutes that needs to be correct.
Yeah.
Whether it's right or wrong, we vote again. The minutes need to be correct on what it is.
And I think to your point, the question of whether it passed by majority vote is in a gray area. There's certainly an argument that it did. The argument that because it wasn't verbalized, that maybe it didn't. And ultimately, it might take a court to sort that out. I'm not sure where they would come down on it. But the point is,
I'm not going to court. I just
Yeah.
think if we're a city, we need it right in the minutes.
yeah.
Whether it's right or wrong, obviously we're voting on it again tonight. But I think if we go back 10 years from now, we look at these minutes, and it shows it's in there, I just think it needs to be correct.
So you just want that last sentence struck off?
Just strike the last.
Yeah, I guess we strike the last sentence off. We need to do something.
Please correct.
So that's the motion, I guess.
So that's the motion. Bonnie, you still good with your second?
Yes.
Any discussion? All right. Opposed with no.
No.
Roll call vote, please.
Cindy Wood? Against. Candida Robinson? For. Carol Roach? Yes. Billy Poe?
For.
Jason Stewart?
For.
John Paul?
Or.
Randy Schrader absent. Bonnie Winkles? For. Brett Parker?
For. The motion passes. The last line will be stricken of the minutes.
It still needs to be a
Now we
motion
need
to
to vote
approve
past the minutes,
as
correct?
amended.
Yeah, and get the, still getting this. Okay, now. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
I'll make the motion.
John Paul Thompson makes the motion, Candida Robinson seconds. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed is no. Minutes passed. Next up is financial reports. You have that in your packet. You need to look over it and entertain a motion to approve. Motion made by Jason Stewart to approve the financial report.
Second.
Who was that? I'm sorry. Second by Cindy Wood. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed with no. All right. Department reports. Chief Redmond. I have nothing, sir. Chief Kemper.
I do. I'm going to keep it quick because it looks like a long agenda tonight. So, I'm not sure if everybody's seen our post on Facebook that we got Fire Department of the Year, so I wanted to announce that if anybody missed it. Thank you. And I just wanted to update on the process of that. So, the process really, it was 3 categories, 1 to 5,000 population, 5,000 to 20,000 population, 20,000 plus population. And so we got it for the 5 to 20,000 population, which is actually the biggest category in the state of Arkansas. Most of your cities are around that size in the state. It was graded on basically 3 categories: innovative programs, community outreach, education, and service excellence. And I wanted to kind of just touch base because I think I don't do a great job of saying, hey, this is what we're doing, because I feel like it's our job. I feel like we're just doing our job. So I don't come and say, hey, we say we delivered a baby yesterday. It just feels like it's our job, right? So when I wrote this nomination letter, I realized, hey, we're doing a lot of good things, right? And I start putting it on paper. Maybe I'm messing up by not letting everybody know what we're doing. So since December of 21, we've answered 4,200 emergency calls. We've had over $1 million in grants that's funded completely all new turnout gear, all new SCBAs, and an entire new radio system. We have a $600,000 grant right now that hasn't been completely approved. They've said we're going to get it. It's just a matter of time and some dotting I's and crossing T's, so that's another $500,000.
That's for a safe room, right?
Yes, that's for the safe room. That's a public community safe room. It's big time need in the city. So I guess the school safe rooms, they fill up completely every time. So it's obviously a big time need. Stop the bleed training and CPR training, we train the entire school district. The entire school district. And we do it every 2 years. And every year they get new employees, we train them. We've even trained an entire class in stop the bleed training, which I believe will be seniors this year.
Yeah, we're super appreciative.
Yeah,
Keep them
and-
busy. Or
yeah,
you got
so-
one time for one more, yeah.
Yeah, and
They
so,
go really
and
good.
that's just some of the stuff that we do, and we've actually delivered 3 babies in the past 3 years, and we've had 5 CPR saves. And when I call it a CPR save, I mean a shot was delivered, CPR, and the patient is alive the next day, and so on, not just CPR and they made it to the hospital. That's not what I'm saying. When I say we had 5 CPR saves, we had 5 people that died, we shocked them, and they're alive either today or longer than a day or 2. So, and that's why I'll let you guys all know that. I feel like I should be letting you know more of that. I just feel like it's our job. But then when you get recognized for all the things you do and you put it on paper, I just wanted to make sure I let everybody know. So thank you. Real quick though, I talked to Deanne. Do you think the council might consider moving the students up to the top so they don't have to sit through this long meeting? Okay, cool. Any questions?
So we have to change just get approval to change the agenda.
Do a motion to move them to.
I'll make a motion.
Bonnie Winkler made the motion and Candida Robinson seconded to move the proclamations up to the top of the agenda. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. All right, we'll do that. Real quick, with the fire department, just in the last couple of weeks, I've had like 3 people that have called and praised the fire department for going above and beyond, changing the tire in the rain, not just changing the tire, but taking it to the tire store, getting a new tire, putting it on, bringing it back, and that was one of the things. So, we appreciate what the fire department does, and, we're not slighting anybody else, we're talking about the fire department right now, so. All right, Mr. Payton.
Don't really have anything except that we don't deliver babies, but now I know who to call. Okay? Other than that, anything else, if you got any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer them.
I do have a question.
Okay?
Because I have been asked this multiple times just in the last 2 weeks.
Okay?
Does the city clean up alleyways? If people have their own limbs into alleyways and ditches, who takes care of that? And I'm not just talking about my father, but Lord, I've heard that in the last 2 days. But I've had people from my ward ask, who cleans up the alleys? Somebody was told to cut the limbs out of the trees and put them in the alley, but somebody would clean it up. Well, who's supposed to clean that up?
Mayor, correct me if I'm wrong. Honestly, still trying to get my feet together about what people are responsible for. My understanding is, down to the brass tacks, typically property owners will own from the middle of the street to the middle of the alleyway, or if there's an alley there. So that makes it the property owner's responsibility to clean it up. Now, as a city, we do try to get through what alleys we can. Talked to Jason about it. He's been here a long time. He said typically we try to get through once a year for the ones that we can get through. The deal, and I've heard this several times in the last few weeks about piling the limbs in the alley and that we would get them, and I'll say no. That means that then we have to take our guys to drag that stuff out. We can't get the truck down the alley, can't get the tractor down most of them. So, it's not fair for the city to be responsible for dragging all that stuff out. If they take it to the street, we will pick it up. But mowing it, maintaining it, cutting the stuff out of it is honestly the homeowner's responsibility. And we are trying to promote that on a bigger basis. There's some of them that have gotten wild that we're trying to clean up, trying to get through. Honestly, in my mind, is a courtesy to those homeowners. They shouldn't have never let it get like that to begin with. But anyway, I don't know that answers your question.
Well, I mean,
we are not.
I'm just, because whether it was or wasn't, lady, because it's a city employee, goes hers and just cuts limbs and put them in the alley, and I mean, that seems
Yeah, I'll kind of address
crazy
that. We
to
talked with
me.
her, we talked with her about that.
Yeah.
And explained it to her, and also had a talk with the employee and explained it to him that
Okay,
his
good.
information was wrong, and we've got that all cleared up.
Very good. I just wanted to make
You're
sure
doing
that
what
was
you're
brought
supposed
up,
to do.
so.
Doing what you're supposed to do.
Anything else? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Fagan. Mr. Campbell?
Yes. First of all, on the Great Strides Grant, anyone who is here needs to please sign the sign-in sheet if you haven't gotten that done already. Ms. Tadia will need a minutes from the meeting as well as an agenda of tonight's council meeting. And if it's brought back up again, those minutes too.
Let's just, if you don't mind, let's just talk about what you've got. All that stuff.
Oh, okay, okay. All right, well, we did the TAP grant we talked about. For the next stage of the sunken lands, we got the EECBG grant for the ballpark lighting. Fund grant is in process for $100,000 worth of playground equipment. We'll need a resolution for that next month if we haven't got it. We have a reimbursable matching grant that is $250,000 that's due at the end of August. If we need to bring someone in to explain that it's the same process, but how the reimbursable match, we'll do that. There is funding, and police chief should know that. Do you know about the funding for the car seats? Yeah. Okay, if you have somebody that's trained on your staff, you can get free car seats through this grant, but you have to go through a course. Right. And there's quarterly courses that are out there available. T-Mobile has a $50,000 grant for shovel-ready projects, and looking for something to save on the sirens, because you lost sirens in storms. And let's see, we've got a community assistance grant that I want to talk to you about in the future coming up. Also the RA, not because of Trumann, but because the county is considered by DRA to be distressed. Trumann is eligible for DRA funding, and that's 100%. And there are a lot of different ways we can go with that.
Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Campbell.
Yes.
Committee reports. Do you have any committee reports? Board reports? Unfinished business. Now we'll go to new business. We'll start with proclamation for the Quiz Bowl. We'll start with it first. Great to have the Quiz Bowl team here and the I don't know if it's teachers or instructors or coaches or what you call them, and plus Ms. Williams, the school superintendent. It's good to have y'all here, and thank you for being here. This proclamation is honoring the Trumann High School Quiz Bowl team state champions for the second consecutive year. The city of Trumann, Arkansas. Whereas the Trumann High School Quiz Bowl team has demonstrated exceptional academic excellence, teamwork, and dedication by competing and excelling at the highest level of scholastic competition in the state of Arkansas. And whereas through their hard work, determination, and outstanding performance, the team has earned this title of state champions for the second consecutive year, bringing great pride and recognition to their school and to the entire Trumann community. And whereas the students, coaches, and school staff have invested countless hours of preparation, study, and training, exemplifying the values of scholarship, perseverance, and school spirit. And whereas the achievements of the Quiz Bowl team reflect positively on the city of Trumann and serve as an inspiration to their peers and future students. Now, therefore, I, Mayor J. Paul Woods, by the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Trumann, Arkansas, do hereby proclaim and commend the outstanding accomplishments of the Trumann High School Quiz Bowl team and extend our heartfelt congratulations on their state championship title for the second year in a row. In witness whereof, I have hereunto too set my hand and cause the seal of the city of Trumann to be affixed this 13th day of May, which is not that, it's actually said the 10th day of June, 2025. Congratulations.
Picture, y'all need a picture over there and get a picture. T-shirt, selling t-shirts.
Where's go?
Right there, big fine.
Okay. Are you in the picture with us, sir?
Y'all want to get up here?
Or you want to right here?
Right there.
Whatever.
Got the camera right
Okay,
there.
that's fine.
Y'all ready? Smile pretty, guys. I'm gonna stand up and get the chamber there. The chamber. The city council. The chamber. Congratulations, guys. More than well deserved.
All right. The next one is a proclamation honoring Lawson Penner, the 2025 Arkansas AAA Madden State Champion, Trumann High School, Trumann, Arkansas, City of Trumann, Arkansas, whereas Lawson Penner, a dedicated student, outstanding representative of Trumann High School, and should also mention a member of the Mayor's Youth Council, has demonstrated exceptional skill, focus, and sportsmanship in the growing field of competitive esports. And whereas Lawson's hard work and commitment to excellence have earned him the title of Arkansas 3A Madden State Champion, bringing pride and recognition not only to Trumann High School but to the entire Trumann community. And whereas his achievement reflects the rising prominence of esports as a valuable extracurricular pursuit that fosters strategic thinking, discipline, and teamwork. And whereas the City of Trumann commends Lawson for his dedication, talent, and role in helping to lead the way for future students in both academics and competitive gaming. Now, therefore, I, Mayor J. Paul Woods, by the authority vested in me as mayor of the City of Trumann, hereby recognize and congratulate Lawson Penner for his outstanding accomplishment at the 2025 Arkansas 3A Madden State Champion, and express our pride and appreciation for his contributions to Trumann High School and our city. In witness whereof, I have here unto set my hand and cause the seal of the City of Trumann to be affixed this, and it actually says the 13th day of May 2025, even though today's the 10th.
I'll say these coaches really invest a lot, have grown these two programs, and may not be familiar with esports, I don't know, but we're actually taking a large classroom, I don't even know, they're converting it to a very nice mini esports arena at the high school, which is like black walls, carpet, blinking lights, no computers, all the things, so it's pretty exciting coming up for these kids. I'm going to go your way too. There you go.
Just one question, Lawson.
Yes, sir.
What team did you play at?
The Chiefs.
All right. Now, first up is resolution number 1285. This ran last month, had 43 votes, having a majority of who was here, but not a majority of the council. So I'm bringing this back up. To explain again, this is simply a resolution to allow me and my office to look for and apply for grant money to fund the park and fishing pond and multi-use area at the Mulberry Street Retention Pond. I'm trying to get a rendering of what the park would look like, but it would have several pavilions, picnic tables and grills, 2 bathrooms, men's and women's on each side of the park, a walking trail of approximately 1 mile all the way around the pond, a bird sanctuary on one end of the pond, a playground, ADA compliant fishing docks, a pump to control flooding waters, and a gate to maintain the water level in the pond. A small bait and tackle shop to rent rod and reels, poles, and maybe even kites. It will be open in the mornings, closed in the evenings to protect from vandalism since it's already fenced in. Any grants or funding found and received would still have to be approved by the council. In all honesty, I don't have to have this resolution to seek these grants. I did this to be more transparent to the council. That's why I brought to start with. After the last council meeting, I received numerous phone calls, which I've already expressed earlier, texts, and even face-to-face meetings in support of this park. And at this time, I'm going to ask Ms. Toddy, would you read the resolution, please?
A resolution authorizing the mayor of the city of Trumann, Arkansas to pursue grant opportunities for the development of a public park at the Mulberry Street detention pond and for other purposes. Whereas the city of Trumann is committed to improving the quality of life for its residents by expanding access to outdoor recreation and green spaces, and whereas the Mulberry Street retention pond presents a valuable opportunity for the creation of a multi-purpose public park that would serve both recreational and environmental purposes. Whereas the proposed park will include a walking trail approximately 1 mile in length with benches placed throughout for public use and rest, a fishing pond equipped with flying fishing docks to ensure accessibility for all citizens, gazebos with grills and picnic tables for community gatherings, a playground for children, and clean, accessible public restroom facilities. And whereas the park will also include the planting of trees at one end of the property to create a bird sanctuary, as well as additional trees throughout the park to provide shade and enhance the natural beauty of the area. And whereas the pump system will be installed to channel rainwater runoff from surrounding neighborhoods into the pond to maintain water levels and promote sustainability. And whereas a small bait and tackle shop will be included in the park designed to provide visitors with access to fishing bait and equipment rentals, further encouraging outdoor activity and community engagement. And whereas the city of Trumann recognizes the importance of seeking external funding sources to help bring this project to fruition and wishes to empower the mayor to pursue such opportunities. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Trumann, Arkansas, Section 1, the mayor is hereby authorized and directed to pursue and apply for federal, state, and private grants and other funding opportunities to support the planting, design, and construction of a public park at the Mulberry Street retention pond. Section 2, the proposed park shall include a walking trail with benches, an ADA accessible fishing pond, gazebos with picnic areas and grills, public restrooms, a bird sanctuary, and shade trees, a stormwater pump system, and a small bait and fishing pond rental shop. Section 3, all grant applications, awards, and expenditures shall be subject to review and approval by the City Council prior to implementation. Section 4, the resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage and approval.
Do I hear a motion to approve? Motion made by Jason Stewart to approve. Second by Brett Parker. Any discussion?
How do we plan on maintaining it? Do we have money in the budget to maintain it?
Yes. We have money in the budget. Financially, our city is stable, very stable. There's money there to maintain the park. We would look at helping to maintain the park within itself by using the funds from the bait shop and all to help with the whoever has to work there with their salary or their pay. We would hope, and again, this is all in the process, the starting process. We would hope hope that we would be able to get some students, be able to come and get some of their community service hours by working there, and help run that. So, again, this resolution is just to seek funding. This is not to pass or approve anything other than seeking funding.
So if we vote to seek the funding, does it has to be used for that?
Yes, if that's what the grant is applied for.
But we don't have to accept it.
We don't have
Just
to
because
accept
they
it.
offer it.
That's right.
There'll be a vote.
Is there not, and here's where I get y'all. I'm 100% Parks guy. I've told him this 100 times. The only way we get people in this town is by having parks and recs for our kids, our grandkids, and our great-grandkids. But right now, I don't know whether y'all know it or not, but all of our parks, every one of them, rated F. Every one of them.
By who?
By the municipal league. That happened under Barbara's terms, and nothing's improved.
Where'd you get that information? Because I haven't seen it.
It was presented in one of them meetings when the municipal league did. So my question is,
One thing about it.
and I'm not throwing James under the bus, but who's the Park and Rec director?
The Parks Director falls under James Payton.
Who is over
The-
Parks?
The over Parks is James Payton. He's over.
Okay. This is where I'm getting at. Last month, I brought up the playground equipment at the sports complex. I brought up the sign, the metal sign that's been ripped down, that the kids can cut their head on and everything else. All it takes is 4 rivets to fix it. Nobody's been out there to fix it. I checked last night. We're still at a month. If we can't maintain our parks, how can we add another park if we can't maintain what we got? And I'm for parks, don't get me wrong.
What sign are you talking about?
The signs, you know where the green playground equipment is? There's metal signs there that
It's
instruct kids.
actually a military thing, is it not? Is that what you're talking about?
What now?
Where the military thing is?
No.
You're talking about the exercise equipment.
You know, yep, right where the exercise equipment is,
The metal.
there's a metal sign that's been pulled back. And it's been that way for 4 months, I know. And
Have you
kids
been
are
there in the
filling rocks in with it.
Have you been there in the last month?
I was there last night. It is not fixed.
Okay, then that's on me. I missed the sign because I went out and looked. The picture that I saw where it's pulled down, that sign had been riveted back up. I even went and asked Jason. I said, "Have we sent somebody to fix that sign?" He said, "Not that I'm aware of." And I said, "This is the picture. I wasn't given a specific location, but on that playground equipment, or not playground, but that exercise equipment had 3 signs there. One of them had a bend in it, but it had been riveted back. The one I saw. So I've not seen the one that you're looking at. I'll take credit for that. I went looking.
The one I took the picture of is still the same way. It ain't been touched
Okay,
from last month.
okay. Then I will walk the park again tomorrow and see if I can't find the one and get it fixed.
And
I did go look at it, thought it had been taken care of.
and that's why I question, how do we have the money? Because whether you believe it or not, it's going to take $250,000 to $500,000 to sustain that park a year. And it's like building a restaurant and not having a cook and a server in there. Is anybody going to come to that restaurant, cook your own meal, and then leave them $20 and walk out? No. I believe if we're going to put a quality product out there, it has to be quality. And if we can't even maintain our parks that we got, I don't know. I'm not saying I'm against parks. I'm a parks guy, but our parks are horrible. They're absolutely horrible. If you turn around and looked at our parks compared to towns half our size, Manila, Leedsville, all that, Lake, she's over there. She knows what I'm talking about. They're horrible. And I think we got to start with our parks we got first, and then move on. Once we get it sustained, and and it's operating, then that's when we go add more. I just think.
Is that not what we're doing at the same time? We're doing the retention park about the, where'd he go, Mr. Bill? There's another grant he was talking about just going towards that equipment, like what you're talking about, that has nothing to do with.
I understand that, Cindy, but here's the deal. We've had a slide that's been broken out there for 4 years. We can't even fix a slide.
I
So-
understand that, but why do you not want to take money to just get just a ticket? Nobody's saying we're doing it, but just to apply, because anything we can get to help improve the city.
I understand it, but I think we need to seek money for the current parks we got.
But we are.
We are.
That's what
We
we're
are.
doing.
This
It's
is
separate
separate
from this.
grant.
From this.
Some of
Two
this-
separate things we're talking
Some of
about.
this money that we're looking at for this park here, you can't use that money for other places.
Right.
But that's what I'm saying. I can't see adding a park when we can't even maintain the ones we got.
Okay.
Because the equipment has been left in disrepair for years and years and years. I mean, the Cedar Park, the equipment there was done when my dad was mayor 20.
But we get told there's no money in the budget to take care of.
Who told you that?
Everybody.
I didn't tell you that.
Where is
I told you I wasn't paying
You told me that.
$5,000 to put a new slide up. I'm trying to be a good steward of citizens' money. That's the whole point.
J. Paul, you can't
We've already
even
got
get
a slide there.
You can't even get a piece of playground equipment cheaper than $5,000. I mean, you gotta come into reality.
Let's get back on the point of what we're talking about. We've got discussion on this resolution of whether we're even going to seek funding for this park.
Do we already have a motion?
We've got a motion and a second. Ms. Toddy, roll call vote, please.
Cindy Wood. 4. Candy. 4. Tara Roach. 4. Billy Poe. 4. Jason Stewart.
4.
John Paul.
Against.
Ernie Lincoln. Brenda Trader absent. Bonnie Winkles abstained. Brett Parker.
4.
Okay.
That's 5-1 with an abstention. Is
It's
that right?
6.
6 to 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 6 to 1. Okay. That passes. And we'll go to the next resolution. It's 1289. Another resolution, just as we already discussed earlier, it passed at the last council meeting with a 5-2 according to municipal league attorneys. When I moved it as passed, that was considered my vote of yes, and the resolution passed. But since I didn't audibly say I vote yes to keep conflict down, I have brought it back this month to be voted on again. This goes in line with resolution number 1288, which passed last month, and it was passed. We must pass this to apply for the same forgivable loan. Many people have been misinformed about this whole situation, and I've explained it the best that I know how. I've explained it in writing and on video. This is not, number one, not city taxpayers' money or those who pay water bills in Trumann only. This is for a forgivable loan that is essentially free money. Number two, this is not just to help Painway. This will be here to help Trumann and our rural customers should we have water issues in those locations. Number three, make this clear, we own the Painway Water Association, the Painway Water System. We don't own Painway. I never said we own the Painway. We own the Painway Water System. It is our responsibility to take care of those customers just as we take care of the city of Trumann customers. They pay their water bill just as everyone else does. In fact, their rates are higher than those in town. Just like 1288, we need to pass this resolution to apply for the funding. Again, this would not cost the city any money should we get approved. And should we get approved, it'd be up to the council to approve accepting the forgivable loan. Ms. Toddy, would you read the resolution, please?
A resolution of intent regarding the water system improvement project for the City of Trumann, Arkansas. Whereas the City of Trumann, Arkansas, the city intends to acquire, construct, and equip certain improvements to the Trumann Waterworks water system, the project, and whereas the total estimated cost of the project, including related expenses, is approximately $6 million, and whereas the city does not currently have sufficient funds on hand to finance the cost of the project and related expenses, and whereas the city proposes to finance the project and associated expenses through the issuance of tax-exempt bonds, the city bonds, which may be sold to a bank, underwriter, or governmental entity, and whereas the principal amount of the city bonds allocated to the project and expenses will not exceed $6 million, and whereas the proceeds of the city bonds will be made available to the city through the issuance and sale of a bond evidencing indebtedness of the city, and whereas this resolution is intended to constitute a declaration of the city's official intent to issue bonds in accordance with the United States Treasury Regulation 1.150-2. Now therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Trumann, Arkansas, Section 1, the city hereby declares its intent to advance funds from its own resources to pay for costs related to the project and to reimburse such expenditures from the proceeds of the city bonds. When a signed original of this resolution shall be furnished by the mayor to the appropriate funding entity.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Cindy Wood made a motion to approve.
Second.
Second by Candida Robinson. Discussion.
Did Bill late?
Yes.
Yeah.
He had to leave.
We would have to change this date if it's passed.
Oh, yeah.
My question is, on this, because he's going to know and you may know, on the money, it has to be spent on water, correct? Is it
This
a water
is-
bond or?
This is a loan that is forgivable loan, 100% forgivable loan, that will be spent for what it is applied for. And it would be applied for to connect the 3 water systems, or connect the water systems in 3 locations, to add a tower and add a pump that would act to keep pressure the way it should be, should we have to move water from Painway to Trumann or to the rural areas. And that's what the money would be used for, and that's what it has to be
So,
used for.
but we could use it for, if we wrote this for another thing, we could use it for
We're
something.
writing one for another thing. We passed it last month.
No,
No, because
where I'm getting at, a quarter of my ward has no fire protection, including your residents.
I got fire protection.
No, you don't. No, you don't. 69 Highway, there's fire hydrants on 69. Everything from First Baptist Church, and correct me if I'm wrong, Revis, from First Baptist Church to the interstate, those houses to the south of 69 have no fire protection. There's no fire hydrants on any of the streets. You take Sean and Lisa Hall's house on Winfield Cove, and I'm using them as an example. If there's a fire on Winfield Cove, Revis is going to have to run a line 1,400 feet from that fire hydrant to get there. So my question is, just like you, when you drive home today, you have no fire hydrant. I cannot see us putting money to Painway when we have our own city residents that have no fire protection.
That's what I'm trying to explain. This particular funding is for this particular type of project. We had ANRC down here. She rolled around and looked at, now, as far as the fire hydrants, we're looking at funding for that as well. Well, just because we're bringing up funding for one project doesn't mean that's the only project.
But my
we're doing.
question is, if we get this huge grant, this forgivable loan, what's the odds of them giving us another forgivable loan?
just as good as it would be for anybody else. They're saying that we can probably get the one that we've already approved last council meeting, that we're probably going to be able to get both of them. A&RC's not the only people that gives loans, and that's not the only ones that give grants.
Reverend, does your fire trucks have water in them when you go out there, or do you have to always hook up to it? I don't know.
Yeah, so.
I'm just saying, if
No,
his
there's no-
house is on fire and there's no fire hydrant, when you go out there with that truck, is there gonna be water on it?
Yeah, so we carry 1,000 gallons of water on every truck, and we do hit it pretty hard. I would say 75–80% of our fires in town during normal hours, outside of the 3 o'clock in the morning, probably a set fire type situation, we put out tank water. I think maybe Councilman Thompson's missing some of the fire hydrants that are in that field behind, because there's one at the end of Winfield there in that circle at the end. It's kind of in the field. It's not great. You know, of course, it's not really where it needs to be, but it is. But one of the big things is it's rural water, so it's smaller lines and things like that. I think some of that's going to be fixed with the construction when we replace some of those lines and things like that. But yeah, I mean, I think maybe some of those lines through there, we're missing some of the hydrants that are out in that field that come off the new water tower that goes to Walmart on that big main. But yeah, that's the lower end of our fire protection is, you know, typically in that area. But we annexed it in, so it's part of the city now, but it wasn't then. So, but yeah, we carry 1,000 gallons on every one of our pumpers.
At Sycamore, there's one at the end of Sycamore. The school's got 4 or 5 on theirs. But there's one, the only other one I noticed in that section is on James Hill, or James Paul. Is that correct?
Yes.
There's none others on that side.
No, you're talking about off of Main Street now, instead of 69.
Yes.
Yeah, there's almost none through there. There's one on Guys Pass, the corner of Guys Pass and James Paul. There's one on Sawyer Lane. There's 2 on Browns Lane, I believe it shows here. I have a map with them. But yeah, they're not where they should be as far as every 500 feet.
Like we were on the last resolution, we're getting away from what this resolution is about. We need to discuss this resolution.
We got a motion, don't we?
Yeah, we got a motion. Yeah, we got a motion.
We have a motion.
Roll call vote, please, Ms. Hyde.
Cindy Wood. For. Candido Robinson, absent. Kara Roach. For. Billy Poe.
For.
Jason Stewart.
For. No.
Ernie Lincoln, Brandon Schrader, absent. Bonnie Winkles. No. Brett Parker.
For.
That's 5-2.
5.
Is that right?
Yes.
All right.
Are you gonna vote?
That's 5. I vote that 4 and pass the motion, or pass the resolution. Next up is resolution number 1292, the resolution to approve funding for our portion of the utility relocation for the expansion of 69 Highway. Finances, and we're in pretty good shape situation where RDOT is going to pay just over 86% of this relocation, leaving the city with just under 14% to pay. This has been going on for about 10 years. It's been in the works. RDOT's done their part. We were originally going to have to pay the whole 100%, and we got our engineer to do some research and come to find out that we only going to have to pay about almost 14%. And so I just need a resolution so that we can get this approved and RDOT can get started on working out, bidding this out. Ms. Toddy, would you read the resolution, please?
A resolution approving the city of Trumann to move forward with the relocation of sewer and water utilities in support of the expansion of Arkansas State Highway 69, to authorize cost sharing with the Arkansas Department of Transportation, RDOT, and to authorize the mayor to execute all necessary agreements. Whereas the Arkansas Department of Transportation, RDOT, is undertaking a project to expand Arkansas State Highway 69, which requires the relocation of existing water and sewer utilities owned and maintained by the city of Trumann. And whereas the total estimated cost for the necessary relocation of the city's sewer and water utilities is $1,747,106.75. And whereas an agreement has been reached when RDOT will be responsible for 86.4% of the total cost amounting to $1,503,210.65. And whereas the city of Trumann will be responsible for 6% of the total cost amounting to $243,896.10. And whereas it is necessary for the city to move forward with the utility relocation in a timely manner to facilitate the highway expansion project, and whereas it is in the best interest of the city to authorize the mayor to execute all necessary contracts, agreements, and documents related to the relocation project and cost-sharing arrangement. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Trumann, Arkansas. Section 1, the City Council hereby approves the relocation of sewer and water utilities to allow for the expansion of Arkansas State Highway 69. Section 2, the city agrees to pay 13.96% of the total estimated relocation cost in the amount of $243,896.10, with RDOT responsible for the remaining 86.4%, totaling $1,503,210.65. Section 3, the mayor is hereby authorized to execute any and all contracts, agreements, and related documents necessary to carry out the intent of this resolution, including those related to cost sharing and utility relocation.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a second.
Jason Stewart made a motion, John Paul Thompson second. Any discussion?
I don't have a discussion, but maybe you can answer this, because I've had some people ask. On 69, the houses on the north side versus the south side, it looks like they're going to split and take equal parts of that. Is that correct?
In some locations, yes.
Is it because of the railroad easement?
What railroad easement?
Well, there used to be a railroad that ran right down the south of 69. That's how they got the lumber for Singer in and out.
That has nothing to do with any of it.
Okay. I didn't know. They were wondering why they wouldn't take more of the south side since it was land to say.
I'm just gonna be honest with you, that was all done prior to me being here. Barbara handled that. The city met over that, made discussion and made comments and decisions and things like that along with RDOT. All of that was put into place before I.
And they just.
I'm going with what I've seen. The only thing that I have had anything to do with changing is the fact that we're not going to pay 100% of utilities. And that's what this is.
A bunch of them are just worried because they're afraid on that north side, that road's gonna be right in their driveway.
Well, I mean, they've sold what was needed.
What was needed to get it.
So, that's on them. I mean,
When we talked about, back then, they were trying to keep it inside the current highway easement. They're gonna take more, they're gonna try to keep it off the center line and then stay within the easement. They'll take a few more feet on both sides of the easement, but they try to keep the same sort of line. So they're trying to. And again, that was all at the provision of RDOT. They came in and said, this is what we're going to do.
any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed with no. All right. 1293 passes. Next is resolution number 1293. This is a resolution to approve applying for the Great Strides grant. This grant will pay for most of, if not all, of the walking trail around the retention pond. This is one of those grants where a resolution must be passed to even apply for the grant. If the grant is approved, the council still has to approve us to accept it. This is not saying we're going to accept anything. It's just saying that we can apply for this grant. Read the resolution, please, Ms. Toddy.
A resolution authorizing the city of Trumann to apply for the Great Strides Trails for Life grant program through the Arkansas Heritage and Tourism for the development of a smoke-free walking trail around the Mulberry Street retention pond. Whereas the the Arkansas Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism administers the Great Strides Trails for Life grant program to assist communities in the development of trail systems that promote physical activity and outdoor recreation. And whereas the City of Trumann desires to apply for a grant in the amount of $250,000 from the Great Strides Trails for Life grant program to construct a smoke-free walking trail around the Mulberry Street Detention Pond, which will enhance recreational opportunities and promote healthier lifestyles for the citizens of Trumann. And whereas the grant requires no local matching funds, and if awarded, the city will provide the land upon which the trail will be developed. And whereas the city understands that as a condition of receiving grant funds, it must enter into a contract with Arkansas Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism, and agrees to maintain the trail for a period of 25 years following its completion. And whereas the city council finds it in the best interest of the public to move forward with this application and to support efforts to improve outdoor infrastructure and wellness through this grant opportunity. Now therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Trumann, Arkansas, Section 1, the mayor is hereby authorized to apply for a $250,000 grant through the Great Strides Trails for Life grant program from the Arkansas Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism for the purpose of developing a smoke-free walking trail around the Mulberry Street Retention Pond. Section 2, the city agrees to provide the land for the trail, and if awarded the grant and accepted by the city agrees to enter into a contract with Arkansas Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism, agreeing to maintain the trail for a period of 25 years. Section 3, the mayor is hereby authorized to prepare and submit the grant application and to execute any and all documents necessary for the acceptance and administration of the grant, including the maintenance agreement and project contracts.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
So,
Motion made by Jason Stewart to approve, second by Carol Roach. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed, no.
I didn't know. I'm a no.
No?
I'm a no.
Okay. Resolution passes 6-1. Next on your agenda is resolution number 1279. At this time, I would request a motion to table this resolution for a couple of months. This property is in probate, and Calvary Pentecostal Church is in the process of purchasing this property. And as soon as it is approved, it comes out of probate, the church will then raise the structure, and they'll clean up the lot for them to use.
This is the one where the same guy come in here
No.
a couple months ago.
No.
It's not.
I don't know, we had two guys.
I thought there was two brothers that came in here that owned a property that went to probate, and they were next to a church, and he was asking.
That very well may be, yeah, that may be the same one.
Okay.
need a motion to table?
I need a motion to table.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Jason Stewart, second by Ron Paul Thompson. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. All right. 1279 passes. We'll table that for a couple of months. And I will let that pastor know, he's contacted me several times, keeping me updated on what's going on with that. The next is ordinance number 743. Our legislative auditor is presently doing our audit, and he said our ordinance that covers this is too broad. He has suggested that we do another ordinance. This ordinance was drawn up and approved by the audit, as well as Mr. Gazaway. This is an ordinance that explains how city employees or elected officials can do business with the city. It's kind of a thing that, again, the legislative audit says we have to do this. This will be the first reading, and motion for council request otherwise. Ms. Toddy, please read the ordinance.
Mayor,
Yes.
can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Do we have a council now that we only have 6
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's the majority.
Okay, just check.
I have a question on it.
Well, hold on. We'll ask that and once it's read, then
Okay.
we go through the process. So, any other? Okay.
I
Ms.
just,
Potty,
everybody
read the
please.
ordinance, please.
An ordinance to repeal ordinances number 286 and 604 and to require city council approval by resolution for any business transactions between the city and its employees or elected officials. Whereas ordinances number 286 and 604 are no longer in the best interest of transparent and accountable municipal governance, and whereas the city of Trumann seeks to ensure that any business transactions involving the city employees or elected officials of the city of Trumann are conducted with full disclosure and public oversight. Now therefore be ordained by the City Council of the City of Trumann, Arkansas, Section 1, repeal of prior ordinances, ordinance number 286 and ordinance number 604 of the City of Trumann are hereby repealed in their entirety. Section 2, business transactions with city employees or elected officials. A, no city employee or elected official shall engage in any business transaction with the City of Trumann for the furnishing of supplies, equipment, labor, or services to or for the city unless such transaction is first approved by a formal resolution adopted by the City Council. B, any proposed transaction must be disclosed in writing to the City Council and placed on the agenda for consideration at a regularly scheduled or special meeting. C, approval shall be granted only when the City Council determines that 1, the transaction is in the best interest of the city, 2, no conflict of interest exists, and 3, the transaction complies with all applicable laws, regulations, and ethical standards. Section 3, severability. If any part of or provision of this ordinance is held to be invalid or unenforceable, such invalidity shall not affect the remaining provisions with which shall continue in full force and effect. Section 4, effective date. This ordinance shall be effective 30 days after its passage.
I do hear a motion to approve. Mr. Stewart made the motion. Karen wrote second. Now, any discussion?
I'm not saying I'm against this, but I think if we're gonna repeal an ordinance, whatever ordinances we're repealing, like this 286 and 604, I think those ordinances need to be included in the council pack, so we can read them.
Okay.
It's hard for us to, it's hard for us to vote to repeal an ordinance, when we can't go back and look at an ordinance to see what it is.
I agree 100%.
And I'm not saying I'm against this, I'm just saying.
I understand, and I agree with you.
Yeah.
These two particular ordinances, I'll explain them to you so that you'll know and we can get this done because, again, the audit says we have to do it. The two previous ones basically were very broad in how business can be conducted between elected officials and city employees. Basically making it where they can do it without having to go through council. This clarifies and breaks it down to real simple. You have to bring it to council. You have to approve these three things before. So that's what that's about. So again, I knew nothing about this until the legislative officer brought it to me and said, hey, this has got to be done. And it's my fault for not including those. I've got them laying on my desk. He gave them to me when he pulled them out, and I just, I'm trying to get this. I wouldn't even think about it. So in the future, I will try to make sure that happens. So, any other discussion? Got a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please, Ms. Toddy.
Cindy Wood. 4. Candida Robinson absent. Kara Roach. 4. Billy Poe is absent. Jason Stewart.
4.
John Paul Thompson.
4.
Ernie Link and Brenda Schrader are absent. Bonnie Winkles. 4. Brett Parker.
4.
Motion. No, the motion passes. Now, go ahead, Jason.
So that's a 6-0 vote.
Yeah,
Yes.
That is a simple majority. for an ordinance, do we not have to have a 7-yea vote?
My
That'd be
recollection,
a two-third, I mean, usually two-thirds of quorum, right?
my recollection for ordinances and resolutions was it passes by a simple majority.
Okay.
Now, there may be
And
ordinances.
I'm okay with that, I just want to make sure that it was done correctly, so we don't have similar outcomes to
Well, if we're in that situation, can I go ahead and say I'll vote yes, just in case?
And
I mean, have it on record, I vote yes, we got 7, if that is an issue.
But there's not a tie, so I think that's the only situation that I'm aware of where the mayor can vote is in the event of a tie.
Right.
That's not a tie. There are some ordinances that take a 2/3 vote. I don't think this is one of them.
Okay. And I'm fine with that. That's, like I said, I just want to head off.
My recollection, without doing any research, is that most ordinances, one like this, would just require a simple majority. 6 votes is a simple majority. I will note, I don't see that this has an emergency clause.
No.
And if y'all are wanting to pass it and be effective immediately, y'all are going to have to suspend the rules, read it by title only for the second and third, vote again, or y'all can put it until the next
That's
meeting.
fine, that's why I said it'll go, this will be the first reading unless, motions by council request.
I mean, if it's something later on it says we gotta do, I don't see why we don't suspend the rules and get it in place.
Get it done.
Yes.
I agree with you, make that motion.
I'll make a motion.
John Paul Thompson makes a motion to suspend the rules, and,
Also,
Jason Stewart, second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Ms. Toddy, will you read by title only for the second and third readings, please?
Ordinance number 743, 2025, an ordinance to repeal ordinances number 286 and 604, and to require city council approval by resolution for any business transactions between the city and its employees or elected officials. Ordinance number 743, 2025, an ordinance to repeal ordinances number 286 and 604, to require city council approval by resolution for any business transactions between and its employees or elected officials.
All right. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
John Paul
Second.
Thompson made a motion.
Second.
Bonnie Winkle, second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Ordinance passes. All right. Next up is ordinance number 744. And I'll let Jason kind of talk on this just briefly to explain a little better, and I'm going to explain it first. Due to new types of developments that the city has never dealt with, and requests for these have been made, this ordinance establishes the permit fees for this. This is planned unit development, or PUD or PUD. This is what some would call row housing. Several larger communities have already had this done, such as Batesville and most of the large cities in northwest Arkansas. These would be a great fit for the Steel Creek development, which is who is requesting them. Also, we've had numerous questions and even a complaint about fences. Captain Henry and I discussed this and agreed that a permit should be purchased at a low cost to install fences, and when permits are purchased, the fencing codes would be given to the citizen along with the permit. There is also an emergency clause in this due to the fact that Steel Creek developers are needing these permits to begin construction of the new houses. The fence, as you can see on there, the application for the fence would be like $10 for the application. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Do you want me to read it?
Oh.
Jason gonna say anything?
Getting ahead of myself.
Well, let me add something. He did a really good job explaining, but also planned unit developments are not only residential locations, these are really blended parts of town. So these things are set up to be able to have commercial building, have different types of businesses, restaurants, things of that nature, along with in the same neighborhoods as these houses. And so for those of you who really want to kind of figure out and see what that might be, the area in Jonesboro out there where the social and the Nalco is, that's a planned unit development.
Greensboro.
Yeah, so you've got housing, you've got residents out there, you've got restaurants, you've got entertainment, you've got a lot of different things going on out there. And that's what this is set up for. That's going to be perfect designation for that part of town, especially with the rest of Steel Creek. You've got the warehouse right across the road. You got them wanting to put housing in right there by that pond that they just built out there. And so, have a fee structure in place for any more of that, especially considering the way the city's growing out there. And this is new stuff. That's why we changed the code a few years ago, is because cities and towns don't operate the same way they did 20 years ago, 25 years ago, 30 years ago. Things are different. People are different. The house I like is not the same house my kids like. So this is something that's over there.
On the fencing permit, are we gonna require them to get a survey? I've been asked that before they put a fence up.
No. I'm sure they had a survey when they bought their property. Fencing codes are pretty explanatory, and it says what they are.
Okay.
So, no, it's just.
Because I've been dealing with my neighbor.
I know. I've been dealing with it.
Do the, describe what kind of fence they can and can't put up? Or they can put up any kind of fence?
Well, to a certain degree, it tells them this or that. Now, when you get into, covenants, like bill of assurances and stuff like that, subdivisions may have their own bill of assurance, which is a covenant between the homeowners in that area. That may tell you can only put up a privacy fence or you can only put up a chain link. The main thing in the codes for fences for us is the fact of privacy fences, you can only come out so far towards the road. If you do, it's got to be leveled off, and so that people can see over and or around, and other things about just general construction on fences. If it's chain link, it's got to be done as well.
Okay.
And I want to also emphasize these covenants and these housing agreements, the city does not enforce those. That is strictly civil. That has nothing to do with the city. We don't enforce those.
Did we redo our fence code where we can include 8-foot fences now? Do you remember?
I think it was amended so that you could actually utilize the 8-foot fence. But we have, in planning and zoning, we've approved those. I mean, as long as you've got a good business case, for lack of a better term, 6-foot fence is what most of your stuff is. You really have to go out and look for 8-foot tall fences. So, if it's the right thing to do, then all you have to do is go in and cross it. It requires a conditional use permit, but
To go down.
Yes, but you can't.
Any other questions about that? Now, where are we at?
Carolyn,
You need to read it.
Carolyn's got to read it.
Miss Carolyn, would you read ordinance number 744, please?
An ordinance to repeal ordinance number 663 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Trumann, Arkansas, to establish planning and zoning fees and for other purposes. Whereas the City of Trumann is experiencing growth in housing, and whereas alternative styles of planning and development, such as planned unit development, PUD, are requested and planned for areas of the city, and whereas the City of Trumann does not have fees for these types of applications and development, and whereas the City of Trumann is experiencing an increase of fencing construction, it is in the best interest of the city to issue permits for fence construction and supply the contractor/owner a copy of the city codes for fencing with permit. Therefore, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Trumann, Arkansas, Section 1, Establishment of Planning and Zoning Fees. The following planning and zoning fees are hereby adopted for the City of Trumann. Application type, Administrative Official Appeal. Current is $100 plus applicable fees. proposed is the same. Planning Commission appeal, $100 plus applicable fees, proposed is the same. Certificate of occupancy, $50 is current, proposed is the same. Child Care Center application, $100 plus applicable fees, proposed is the same. Construction plat application, $150 plus applicable fees, the proposed is the same. Conditional use permit application, $100 plus applicable fees, the proposed is the same. Lot split application, $100, the proposed is the same. Minor subdivision application, $100, the proposed is the same. Record plat application, $100, the same. Rezoning plan amendment application, $100 plus applicable fees, the proposed is the same. Sign permit application, $100, the proposed is the same. Site plan review, $100, the proposed is the same. Temporary storage container application, $100, the proposed is the same. Variance application, $100 plus applicable fees, the proposed is the same. Preliminary HUD plan application is a new fee, and it's $250 for proposed plus applicable fees. Final HUD application, plan application, current is new, and the proposed is $100. Fence permit application is new, proposed is $10. Section 2, repeal of conflicting ordinances. Ordinance number 663 and any other ordinance or parts thereof in conflict herewith are hereby repealed to the extent of such conflict. Section 3, emergency clause. It is hereby found and declared that an emergency exists and that this ordinance is necessary for the immediate preservation of the public peace, health, and safety. Therefore, this ordinance shall be in full force and effect immediately upon its passage and approval.
Now, do I hear a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
Jason Stewart made a motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second. Cindy Wood, second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Ordinance passes. Now,
I'd like to make a motion to just read title only for the second and third reading.
next Stewart made a motion to suspend the rules and read by title only for second and third reading. John Paul Thompson, second. Any discussion? Yes, sir.
Before you go too far, I need to do some, really need to check on this, but there are only 6 council members here. They all approve it. You can't vote because of not tie. And the emergency clause passed requires a 2/3 vote, as I recall. And with only 6 members here, I don't think that's quite 2/3. I think it's 2/3. So, it might, I'm afraid if we voted like that, the ordinance passes, but the emergency clause might not, because we just don't have enough people here. Maybe I should have pointed that out.
We want to be legal. That's just plain and simple.
I mean, if it needs to be passed, can you call a special meeting?
I mean,
And just come in and vote on that?
they've got to come and request, the PUD in front of the Planning and Zoning Commission and get their approval, if you will. Next week, next Tuesday. So we'd either have to reconvene this group Monday to set that into effect. Otherwise, it would put into effect after the
Jason,
well, the next council meeting, which would be
Jason, sorry, I don't have anything on the agenda for a PUD
next week.
Right.
Could have swore that's what Gary sent out.
Well, Gary said that, well, he sent out the information, but he said they have not provided him everything he needs, therefore it's not on the agenda.
vote it tonight, the ordinance will pass. The emergency clauses wouldn't become effective, which would mean this would become effective 30 days after its passage, like any other ordinance. And, I mean, you got to publish it, do all the things you have to do after that.
So we can just pass it now, and in 30 days.
30 days it becomes effective, but the emergency clause will not pass.
So it wouldn't matter with the emergency clause.
Well, I mean, if they're.
Do we
they're
need
not-
them 30 days?
Well, no. I mean, within 30 days is fine. Because if they're not on the agenda, then we're not going to do any bid leave, which means they'll have to come to July.
Well, let's vote tonight, then in 30 days it passes, and we're good, correct?
Yeah. It'll become,
So do
it'll
we
become
need,
an
we need to
ordinance
amend
30 days
it, do we need to amend it?
I'm sorry.
It'll become effective 30 days after passage.
Does this need to be amended and dropped in the emergency clause?
I know, but I think you would need to just announce that the ordinance passes with 6 votes, the emergency clause fails. Ordinance passes, just the emergency clause.
So we already voted, right?
No.
We did not vote. Okay.
No, you got a
We
first and a
still gotta
second.
read the second and third.
We gotta read, yeah,
That's right. We have to vote. He made the motion, you second,
yeah.
to read only for the second and third reading.
I guess when you publish the ordinance, you'll need to take the emergency clause out because it didn't pass.
You may read by title only now.
We didn't vote on that yet.
There's a motion.
We haven't voted on the emergency clause.
Motion to suspend the rules, read by title only. That's the motion.
Hold on. What'd you say, Judge?
The pending motion is motion to suspend the rules, read by title only.
Yes.
So you just need to vote on that.
Okay.
The emergency clause will fall off because it can't pass by second. So it'll be dead. The ordinance will be dead.
I just didn't know if it'd make it easy if we just amend it and vote to get it out and be done with
So
it.
we got a motion to do that.
Huh?
We've got a motion made and second to suspend the rules, read for the second and third reading by title only. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed with no. All right, Ms. Toddy, will you read the ordinance by only, please?
Ordinance number 744, 2025, an ordinance to repeal ordinance number 663 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Trumann, Arkansas, to establish planning and zoning fees and for other purposes. Ordinance number 744-2025, an ordinance to repeal ordinance number 663 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Trumann, Arkansas, to establish planning and zoning fees and for other purposes.
Do we hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Jason Stewart made a motion.
Second.
Second by John Paul Thompson. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed with no. Ordinance passes. The emergency clause fails. This ordinance will go into effect 30 days from today. All right. Next up, we have a request for an on-premises alcohol sales license for Elmer Blade to sell beer and wine. This location had a license for that when it was not Fiesta. You got a copy of the license in your packet. Do I hear a motion to approve? I make a motion. John Paul Thompson makes a motion. Here's a second.
I'll second.
Bonnie Winkle second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed with no. All right, these under proclamations, and finally, the mayor's report. Bids for the construction of the pure water tank and the treatment facility will be open on June the 24th. Hopefully, we can finally get started on a much-needed facility. As told in the previous council meeting, we had 3 tornado sirens go out during the tornado outbreak that we had in April, as Mr. Campbell mentioned, and we have been looking for, he and I and Chief Kemper have been looking for funding to replace those with new sirens. I was told that the overlaying of the streets that we got the grant for in 2023 will begin around August or September. Again, we don't have any options on that. That's with their mercy, whenever they say they'll do it. Also, Walmart will be having a grand reopening. It was scheduled for June the 13th, which was this Friday. It's been changed to June the 20th at 9 a.m. We've got to push back due to some new refrigeration units not being installed on time. The Arkansas Municipal League Summer Conference starts next week, so I'll be in Little Rock Wednesday through Friday for that conference. I have applied for a grant through Burlington Northern Santa Fe that will purchase a new hazmat trailer for the fire department, as well as put the logo wrap on it. Hopefully we'll hear from them soon. We got a grant year before last that actually started our real-time crime center, so hoping we'll get this one as well. As Mr. Campbell stated earlier, we've applied for several other grants. I was told by RDOT that the LTAP grant for phase 2 of the Sunken Lands Trail looks really great. I said last month President Trump denied FEMA funding for the storms of late March and early April. About an hour after the council meeting, President Trump approved funding. So everyone that reported damages to our office has been turned in to FEMA, or turned over to FEMA for them to call them and make contact with them, see if hopefully they'll get some kind of assistance from this funding. The Budget Committee will meet on June the 26th at 6 p.m. This will be for the mid-year budget reconciliation. This just makes adjustments to the budget to keep it in line with what we've got going on. With that, do we have any open public comments?
I didn't get to sign up because I was here for the park meeting, but I have something. Do I need to already sign, or?
You're fine.
Thank you. I won't be long. We're really excited to announce our second annual 4th of July celebration at the sports complex. So last year it was thrown together pretty quickly because I have that defect sometimes. We weren't really sure if we were going to be able to pull it off, if permitting was going to come through in time, or if the weather was going to cooperate. But thousands of people showed up for that fireworks show. It was so much fun, and we had a really great day. So this year we've purchased our fireworks. We're looking at vendors right now, food trucks and games, and we're thinking bingo and ways to raise money for the recipient organization for this fireworks in the forest is going to be the Call, which is the foster adoptive program here in Trumann. So the proceeds, the raffles, the event itself is going to be free, and we want to keep it free, but we'd also like to raise awareness about some of the needs in some of the lower income communities, the needs of children needing open homes in Poinsett County. So of the 70 plus children that have been taken into DCFS care, according to DCFS statistics, 54 of those kids came from just Trumann. That's an alarming amount of children to have left our communities because there were no open foster or adoptive homes to serve them. So we'd like to do a backpack drive, a school supplies drive in lieu of paying for a ticket to come enjoy the fireworks show. And then we'll present those proceeds to the Call and further that mission of meeting some tangible needs for kids in care. If anyone has any questions, let me know. We appreciate the TRC building being available to us last year and this year. It's a nice spot to cool down because you never know what's going to happen with our Arkansas weather. But this year I thought since we had access, it would be neat to go ahead and maybe do some bingo or other just fun games for the family. Fireworks start at 8:30, and I'll push out more information on what that's going to look like. I just wanted to share with you guys first before you saw it on Facebook. Thought I was just rogue and not including anyone. That's not the case. I really enjoy watching this council work together. I know it gets heated at times. It's just part of the process. Community really relying on us to use our brains, to think independently, and to work with people even if we don't like them. In my case, that's quite a bit of people. I mean, I like everyone, but, sometimes it's not always reciprocated, and that's fair. And in that spirit, I want to, if I've provoked anyone to the extent where they think that I want them to fail, or I don't want them to be a part of our projects, or that I'm just a pot stirrer. I mean, it's a fair assessment. I haven't always hit the mark in advocating or presenting myself in ways that are fruitful and in the spirit of working together. So I do apologize if I have, again, incited anything that wasn't a fair reflection of the leader that I claim to be. And I would really like to see each and every one of you come to the end of yourselves, your own agendas, your own allegiances, and really make something happen for Trumann, because we're really counting on it. Yep.
You have no one else on the list? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Senator Wood made a motion, Rex Stewart second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.